get started. Thank you everybody for being here. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Francesca Perdue. I am part of the communications team here at the Albuquerque Police Department. Once again, thank you all for being here. We're very excited to make the second announcement of the expansion of our Safe at Work campaign, which is a campaign that is directed at bringing awareness to domestic violence and those who may be facing domestic violence. So today we're going to have a lineup for you all. We will be hearing today from Mayor Tim Keller, Julie Jaramillo on behalf of Janice Garcia, APD Chief of Police Cecily Barker, District Attorney Sam Bregman, Bernalillo County Sheriff John Allen, and New Mexico State Police Chief Matt Broom. And with that, I will turn it over to Mayor Keller.
Thanks. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for being here for a number of reasons. I think for the audience that is with us, of course, many of you are practitioners and experts in all things domestic violence. And of course, we're at this amazing facility that we've had actually for quite some time, but continue to improve our Family Advocacy Center. So thank you all for the work that you do. I want to take a few moments to share a little bit broader perspective for folks who are going to be listening in Zoom or social media and so forth, who are less familiar with the issues around domestic violence. And firstly, really want to highlight, of course, it is National Crime Victims Rights Week. And so this is, of course, one reason why we're doing this. But in part, we have these things like weeks or months or days to shine a light on certain issues. But in this case, here in the Metro, we're announcing a wonderful expansion of a very successful program. And that's what you're going to hear about for the rest of the event. Now, last year, basically, we had an amazing woman who folks know who works here, Janice. And she really cracked the door open in a role that many workplaces can play with respect to domestic violence. And I think it's counterintuitive if you're not familiar with domestic violence. And so basically, we have different spaces in our lives, and those spaces function differently. And of course, domestic violence is sort of by definition, not always, but it takes place in the home or in a residence. That means it's very difficult to prosecute. That means the victim, it's very difficult for the victim to report or get help because often the perpetrator is right next to them or in the room next to them, right? And so we know this happens, of course, in relationships. So there might be fear of retribution down the road for a relationship. And even sometimes, of course, it's family. So there's family dynamics that are also at play. All of that together means it is very difficult to report and get help for domestic violence. And our country, our society has struggled with this forever. And it's been only recently where we're understanding that one of the safest places is actually the workplace. And that's the message that we want to remind everyone today and that we're expanding today. Because in the end, the victim, typically, not always, may have a place to go to work. That place usually includes people who don't know the potential perpetrator. It also includes physical separation, so that person is not in the same room as the perpetrator, right? All of these things that I outlined that are such challenges with domestic violence actually don't exist in the workplace. And it really is the only other place, unless you can find your way to the fact, it's the only place where you're supposed to go anyway, because often the perpetrators are worried about being reported and about justice. And so they are monitoring the victim in a sense of their cell phone or where they're going in the day or who they're talking to, who they're texting. So how can they actually report this without putting themselves in further risk? The answer is the workplace. And so we started this in the city of Albuquerque, making this a safe place and having a procedure essentially where you can report domestic violence issues in a confidential, safe way. So we do that at the city of Albuquerque. We did it last year because we wanted to see if it would work and if we could expand it. And this year, wonderfully, we are announcing the expansion to the DA's office and to Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office. And hopefully by extension, broader Bernalillo County, State Police, obviously. We want to have this, it's easy to expand into ancillary government operations. And so that's where we're starting. But I want to make it clear that anyone can actually participate in this program. We have large employers, we have UNM, we have Presbyterian. We are open to this kind of partnership with all of those major employees, PNM. so that we can try and make work a safe place and a place where we can actually have the beginning of some accountability and some justice, but also some help for the victims. And so that's really what we hope this is the start of. And I'm very appreciative of our new partners. You can see them even outlined here on our advertisement, but to partner with our state police and DA's office in Bernalillo County is a powerful signal that everyone should jump on board with this program. Now, Janice actually is out today, and so we're going to have someone fill in and tell her story in just a moment. But I want to make sure that we just acknowledge the fact that we want to make sure that everyone has a place where they feel supported and can ask for help. And everyone around our community always says, you know, how can I help? I just came from the Volunteer of the Year ceremonies, and people can volunteer, right? There's lots of ways you can help. But if you own a business or if you are a manager in a business, this is a massive way that you can help. And I also know this timing, not just because it's this particular week and it's an awareness week, but we know that domestic violence has actually gone way up in the last year in the city of Albuquerque. And so even though we're making progress on almost every other category of crime, domestic violence is an outlier in a bad way. And so this is a call to action. If you want to see crime go down, if you want to help crime go down, help with this program. Right now, it's our #1 challenge for APD. And this is actually one of our best answers to that challenge. And lastly, if we actually do this, if we actually make the Metro safer for domestic violence through this program, it sends a massive signal of deterrence. It says to the perpetrator that you can't get away with it. That is extremely powerful, and that will change what we've had as generations and decades of problems with domestic violence, because accountability is so challenging. We actually have a chance through this program to change that over the next few years. So that is what I hope this is the beginning of today.
Thank you, Mayor. Before I bring up our next speaker, I just want to give a little bit of background. So last year when we launched the Safe at Work campaign, we actually implemented here at the city that all new employees will now be required to attend domestic violence awareness training. And so that is also for existing employees. They have 2 years to go through it, and they have to go through that mandatory training. As part of that, we also implemented this flyer, which is now hung up in all city facilities. And then we also updated our domestic violence website, and now it's kind of a one-stop shop. It includes resources for Bernalillo County, for the DA's office, for state police, for Albuquerque Police, pretty much a one-stop shop, because we wanted to make it easy for the victims or anyone who was looking for resources for a potential victim to be able to go onto that website and get those resources. And so as part of this partnership, the agencies, as you can see, we've co-branded this. They will now hang this flyer up at their locations, so that way these resources will be available for their employees as well. Julie Jaramillo, who will be coming up to speak on behalf of Janice Garcia, she was actually a huge part in the original launch. She filmed all of the training videos, I believe, that are now running through our Human Resources Department, where individuals are getting this domestic violence awareness training. So with that, I will turn it over to Julie.
Let me just get my booster seat. I'd like to also give credit on that. Those videos also include Dr. Duranzo, there she is right there, who also has a large hand in everything that we did last year. So thank you, Doctor. All right, I am reading someone else's words, so bear with me. This is for Janice. When you manage to remove, I'm sorry, that's a bad start, in the middle. Good afternoon, I'm the manager for criminal investigations, specifically overseeing the Albuquerque Family Advocacy Center. One of my responsibilities is to analyze the data. Each year, we serve over 3,500 survivors, and over 2,200 of those survivors are domestic violence survivors. Domestic violence manifests in various forms. Financial abuse, which includes control over monetary resources affecting basic human needs for survival. Then there's emotional and mental abuse. The scars from this type of abuse aren't visible. They lie far beneath the surface, where the internal wounds can be harder to heal. Survivors often struggle to reprogram themselves, learning that the negative messages and manipulations from their abuser are not truths. Then there's physical abuse. This is often more visible, with physical signs like bruises and scars. While healing from physical injuries may seem quicker, the damage to one's dignity, respect, and inner peace can linger. No one should have the power to disturb your peace. It often takes multiple attempts before someone finds the courage to leave an abusive situation. Each experience is unique, and as a survivor, I understand the difficulties of enduring all of these forms of domestic violence. Leaving an abusive situation can be scary. You may be asking yourself, how can I leave safely? How will I manage? How will I rebuild my life? It's crucial to recognize that if you're experiencing domestic violence, you are not a victim. You are a survivor. Surviving these circumstances daily is a testament to your strength. Sadly, some do not survive. Sometimes the abuse escalates to homicide, and that the label of victim takes on a tragic weight. When you manage to remove yourself from an abusive relationship, you embark on a new journey as a survivor. You will become a survivor of your own life, reclaiming your peace and ensuring that no one disturbs it again. You learn to rewrite your narrative and focus on self-care. Self-care emotionally, financially, and mentally. I understand this journey is easier said than done, but feeling safe again is within reach. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Believe me, I know. You and your loved ones would rather celebrate your new life with you rather than your death date. I know mine do. One day last year, I was invited to a meeting with Francesca and Terry to discuss how best to connect with domestic violence survivors. I emphasize the importance of discreet and safe spaces because for many, work can be a safe place where peace and clear thinking is possible. I know it was for me. Safe at Work emerged from conversations among 3 APD employees about how to best support our city's domestic violence survivors. It would have been priceless for me to have access to a resource like Safe at Work and that would have provided a discreet and safe connection to a safety plan and resources during my walk with domestic violence. Of course, I still feel safe at work, but now I understand what it feels like to be safe at home. With all due respect to Mayor Keller, Chief Barker, Deputy Chief Vega, Commander Bernard, and Deputy Commander Christensen, I now anticipate the end of my workday because I look forward to clocking out and heading home to enjoy my new life. My prayer is that Safe at Work can help others find their way to safety, healing, and happiness. May God bless your journey. I would just like to say to Janice, and as a fellow survivor and shared my story last year, but Janice, when you watch this, you need to remember that choosing to initiate and help with this project behind the scenes, far from the spotlight, doesn't make you any less brave than those of us that may choose to do it in a platform that's public like this on a regular basis. So Janice, choosing to share that story today is going to have an immeasurable impact on so many lives, mine included. So thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you for sharing that on behalf of Janice. We will now hear from APD Chief of Police Cecily Barker.
Good afternoon, everybody. First, I want to thank you, Julie, for sharing Janice's story. And Janice, when you see this, I just want to personally thank you for sharing your story as well. It's so impactful to hear from survivors and what we can do to move forward. I also want to start with thanking our law enforcement partners who are here today. It's really important. You know, it doesn't matter where you work or who you are. Domestic violence, it affects everybody. And so I just want to thank you for being here and for your support with this movement. Domestic violence is extremely important to me. One, as a chief of police and, as a person. My career in the Albuquerque Police Department started in working field services in the Southwest Area Command. And a lot of those calls that I responded to were survivors who were scared to report to police because they were concerned about the threats that the perpetrators would say, like, you're going to go to jail or they're never going to believe you. And I specifically remember being a young officer responding to these calls and saying, hey, it's really not that hard. You just go to district court, you file it for a restraining order, and it's just that easy. And I will tell you that in my own life, I had an experience where I had to go to district court and file for a restraining order. And it was coming to the Family Advocacy Center and the support of the people who work here that helped me to get through that. And it gave me the empathy and the knowledge to know that it's not just that easy, that it takes a lot of support from those that you work with and from family members. And so I also want to thank everyone who was here, whether it's our advocates, survivors, supporters, for all of the support that you give to those who come here. Domestic violence, like I said, doesn't stop when someone walks into work. In many cases, the workplace may be the only stable or safe environment a person has during a difficult time, and that's why this campaign is so important. Work can create visibility and open conversations and makes resources easier to access. Law enforcement officers and professional staff face stress, trauma, and personal challenges just like anyone else in any other profession. We are not immune to the effects of domestic violence, and I believe that all of our law enforcement partners are here today to recognize that. Domestic violence impacts people from across every industry, every agency, and every workplace. I just want to remind everyone that it doesn't always look like what people believe it does. It's not just physical abuse, like Julie mentioned. It can be emotional, mental, financial, and sexual abuse. As an organization, we have a responsibility to make sure our employees know that they're supported and that we are here to help them. We want our officers and staff to know that they don't have to carry these struggles alone and that asking for help is not a weakness. I also want to recognize Janice again for her courage in sharing her story. It takes a tremendous strength to speak about something so personal, especially when that story comes from a place of pain and survival. Janice helped us share this campaign in a meaningful way because her experience reminded us that workplaces can play an important role in someone's path towards safety. And that is why this campaign continues to grow. By expanding Safe at Work, we are helping ensure more people have access to the support where they need it the most. This work is about compassion, awareness, and making sure people know that help is available. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now hear from District Attorney Sam Brigman.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you to the city. Thank you to all of our law enforcement partners for what you do every single day. Thank you for the people that work in this building. We are proud to be part of this. As you all know, my office prosecutes domestic violence cases at both the felony and misdemeanor levels. These cases represent some of the highest volumes that we handle of any type of case in our office. Thousands come through our doors every year. Thousands of domestic violence cases come through our doors every year. And unfortunately, those numbers aren't going down. And I don't have to tell you all that no one, no department, no business is immune from domestic violence. I think I speak with some authority from that in what's happened recently at the DA's office. Behind these cases are people navigating fear, uncertainty, and very real risks. We understand the challenges that survivors face as they move through the criminal justice system. That's why my office has taken steps to strengthen our response. We have nearly doubled the number of our victim advocates, and we've created a dedicated domestic violence team that focuses on the most complex cases. At the DA's office, we hold people accountable under the rule of law. And just as important, we are here to help, to support, and to connect survivors with the resources they need. This is not work, though, that we can do alone. It requires strong partnerships with law enforcement, with community organizations, and with all of you. Together, we can continue raising awareness, improving reporting, and making our community safer. Thank you again to the mayor, to the city, to APD, and all of our law enforcement partners, and to the community, because we have to confront and reduce domestic violence. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Bernalillo County Sheriff John Allen.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you all for being here. Thanks to the Albuquerque Police Department, the DA's office, New Mexico State Police, and all the agencies that are joining in on this effort in the mayor's office. As you look around this room, when it comes to domestic violence or any call that's violent for us, thank you to the workers, the victims' advocates, the liaisons, the officers, the deputies, admin staff, PIOs that I see in here. We all need that collaboration, and the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office is glad to be a part of it. As you just look at this flyer and see 4 emblems on here with the state police and everybody represented on here with us, the Albuquerque Police Department, that goes a long way to see who we're partnering with, because as the DA said and as the Chief Barker said, nobody is immune to domestic violence, whether it is outside of the workplace or whether it is inside your workplace. Everybody will discuss that we want to prevent a domestic violence homicide. Yes, that is true, but on the contrary, it's all about prevention, it's all about awareness, and it's all about education. But most importantly, it's all about having a safe place to wherever you work, to wherever you live, no matter what county, city, across the state or any state, who you can speak to. What we just heard earlier on a victim speaking about domestic violence, thank you for the courage that any domestic violence survivor has, first of all, to come forward. But it's very easy for us in law enforcement to say that it is easy, and for someone to go to district court, to file a restraining order, to make a report, and you move on with your life. We all know in law enforcement, or if you're an attorney, that is not the case. It is much more difficult from there. What happens during that time frame between the original call and when you're done with court, or through the numerous hearings that might be continued, no matter what happens in the criminal justice system, do you have a safe place to go? Do you have someone you can speak to? And do you have a resource book or know the resources you can have, whether it's for living somewhere safely, for the finances, for the relationship that you just left, that they were the breadwinner and you have no financial resources, for the children that you have. So we see a dog laying here, for pets that you have. There are so many other elements to domestic violence in the cases, not just the violence, but the problems that it brings for the rest of their lifetime. We want to make sure by collaborating and doing all this teamwork that we are behind and we are the backbone also to give domestic violence survivors and the people who investigate them and prosecute them the backbone to move forward and for someone to move on with their life. Thank you.
And last, we will hear from New Mexico State Police Chief Matthew Broom.
Good afternoon, and as mentioned before, I want to say thank you to the partners we have here today, and it means a lot. And thank you to Chief Barker for the opportunity to speak today. Domestic violence is a serious and complex issue that we face regularly. It affects every community and can even impact people within our own agencies. As law enforcement, our job is to protect lives and keep the public safe. That includes taking care of our own team. Safe at work helps raise awareness. It encourages people to seek help. It provides support when needed. It also reminds us of something more important. Asking for help, as mentioned before, it's not a weakness. Oftentimes, the hardest step is the first step. And this hopefully will help aid in that. Our people are essential to our mission. And when they feel supported, they can serve the public with more professionalism and sound judgment. This effort brings agencies together, as you see today, and that makes a difference. By working as a team, we can respond more effectively and better serve our communities. I want to thank again the Albuquerque Police Department, specifically Chief Barker, for inviting me to speak today, and we look forward to the partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. That completes it for our speakers. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. If you could raise your hands and give us who you're with and who your question is for.
Nick with ABQ Raw. This is whoever can answer it. How many people have used this since it went active last year? And then can you explain what that QR code does, like what kind of form it is that they have that they can go through and fill out, or is it resources, or what is it?
I can go ahead and answer that. So last year, we actually don't have a way to track it if they specifically used this QR code, but we have seen an increase in the activity that's happening on our domestic violence website. So it has increased since we launched, and I believe we launched late May last year. And so it has increased. And on that website, you can either use this QR code or you can visit cabq.gov/safe. And like I said, we wanted it to be a one-stop shop. And so it has all of your law enforcement agencies on there, their contacts. Last year, I believe all the agencies worked together to update the domestic violence packet that you have to fill out. And so that's also on there. I think it's available in 17 different languages. And we also have just information on what does domestic violence look like. And we know that it's not just for survivors, it's for loved ones, it's for people who, we're hoping to reach those employees, those coworkers, those supervisors that say, hey, maybe this person is going through something and I can go to this website and find some resources for them. Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you everybody for being here.